Juventus' season with Cristiano Ronaldo in the squad and playing a starring role is just now coming to a disappointing end. They're still playing out the Serie A season, although the crown is safe. An 8th straight Scudetti for the Bianconeri. Give us your assessment, Stu, on Ronaldo's impact in his season overall.
I'll first of all talk about him and how he's played. I think he's looked a better player at Juventus than he did for the last 2 or 3 years at Real Madrid. And the reason I say that is because at Real Madrid, for 2 or 3 seasons, he became just a goal scorer. He was a great box player. Every time the ball went into wide areas, he made his run into the box and he was trying to win balls in the air, which he did. And that's why he scored so many goals. You very rarely saw him run with the ball. You very rarely saw him pick out a pass. You very rarely saw him go past someone and get a cross in. This season at Juventus, I think he's looked a yard sharper, a yard quicker. He's gone past people with the ball. He's made some fantastic runs at times. So I think, in terms of his performance, I think he's been a better Ronaldo over the last 12 months than he was for the last 3 years at Real Madrid. Has it been a success for Juventus? Not quite so much, because every year, or for many years, they've won the double. They didn't win the Coppa Italia. They got knocked out in the quarterfinal. And he was brought in to do much better in the Champions League. And they performed really poorly against Ajax and were outplayed totally. And he ended up being the lone centre forward and it was really up against him. So in terms of Juventus, has it been a success? No. Ronaldo's performances, I think, have been better. So you can't actually blame Ronaldo for Juventus' failure.
It's hard to argue against his performances, particularly in the Champions League as well, single-handedly in terms of the goals against Atletico Madrid. And then, of course, he gave them every opportunity in both legs against Ajax, where he scored to put them in front of them to progress in that match. The failings have been elsewhere. Has it also been a problem in that they don't quite know how to fit him into the front line?
I think they know how to fit him in the front line, very much as he was at Real Madrid. He starts out on the left-hand side, and after 5 minutes he goes and plays at centre-forward. I mean, that's the way he's played for most of his time. He won't really want to drift back out and defend those areas. Matuidi has to do that. Mandzukic often swapped over with him. But they didn't get enough crosses in the box for him. That was one issue that they had, particularly from the left-hand side, because that's where he was vacating that area, and Alexandro tried to get forward as much as he could to get crosses in, but he didn't score too many goals from that side. It was from the other side, Chilio getting forward down there, Cancelo, his Portuguese teammate, trying to get forward and getting crosses into the box. But I think the one problem that Ronaldo has, and Juventus have as well, is that he's purely selfish. So there's many, many times where he could pick out a better pass, he could deliver a good cross, and he went for a shot himself, a shot that was never going to score, or he might win a corner from it. But that's the one area that I would say he let Juventus down. He was a bit too selfish. And other players were looking for him too eagerly, rather than picking out the next pass to somebody else. Where's Ronaldo? And maybe that wasn't the best pass, and they'd try and play it. So he had a big influence on the team, not always for the better of Juventus.
Yes, that was a point I was going to mention. They deferred to him an awful lot. So many times we saw the likes of Bernardeschi bringing the ball forward, Dybala when he was in the team. They would always be looking for Ronaldo to make that impact, and perhaps over-reliance is something that they'll have to address. Where else do Juventus need to address their sort of deficiencies in order to make the most of him?
I think, I always said, they've got to get crosses into the box. So he might have to change the shape slightly and play with 2 up front, Mandzukic and Ronaldo, and get 2 wide players who are going to get crosses into the box. He didn't use Douglas Costa anywhere near enough to get crosses into the box. So that would be the one thing I would say to Allegri, if he's going to be the manager. Ronaldo is at his best when balls come into the box for him to head. That's his major strength now. Yes, he's played better in other areas, but his major strength is his ability in the air.
Another criticism that they had against Ajax was perhaps not having enough strength and depth at the back, with an ageing back line, the midfield not being maybe as dynamic as it could be. They're bringing in Aaron Ramsey, of course. Do you think that Juventus are in position this summer with a lot of rebuilding needed, or a lot of strengthening needed in those personnel positions? Do you think that they are going to make the moves that are going to convince him that they're going to be Champions League winners in the 3 years he's got with them?
Only time will tell. I don't think they are going to strengthen that much or make themselves a much greater side. Max Allegri, if he's still there, has to do a better job as the manager.
Okay, and as for Ronaldo, how will he be feeling going into the next year, do you think?
I think he looked happy with his performances. He looked happy at Juventus. I think he'll stay there and enjoy his football next season.
Okay, well, it is another league title for Cristiano Ronaldo across another of the top 5 international leagues, and of course a maiden season with Juventus where he's led the goal scoring charts as expected. The one thing they weren't expecting was the early exit from the Champions League. He did all he could, but there's needing more to be done from Juventus and from Ronaldo next year if they're to get that glory.